Who's the notary that's watching these things?
Me. And I personally know you.
Glide the glide.
Apologize.
Live now.
But I just thought the gas is 50 cents a gallon cheaper here.
1 week, Clyde, 1
That's
week,
because we're poorer.
Clyde, 1 week it was 80.
You gotta start. You gotta start.
So I am going to call the meeting
sorry.
to order.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, everybody, sorry.
This is our organizational meeting for the Franklin County Industrial Development Agency. Thank you for being here. We want to welcome you all back and then welcome Eric Shaheen as our newly appointed board member. Welcome, Eric. And as this is the organizational meeting, I will ask Rachel to do a roll call. I will call for a nomination and election of officers. Once there's a new president or chair appointed, then they will run the rest of the meeting. So Rachel, could you do roll call first?
Yes, Sherry Bouye,
Present.
Scott Gordon,
Present.
Nate Manette,
Here.
Clyde Rapidu,
Here.
Eric Shaheen.
Here.
Absent is Melissa Mills and Nick Russell. Also present, Jeremy Evans, Paul Ellis, and Rachel Carr.
Thanks, Rachel. So the IDA has the following officers as set forth in the bylaws: chair, vice chair, secretary, assistant treasurer, and assistant secretary. So I'm going to ask for a motion from any member of the board to for a slate of proposed officers for the IDA.
To approve that slate?
No, to offer up a slate. Yep.
I'll make a motion.
What's the slate? You gotta make the slate.
Oh. Well, we talked a little bit. I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily a group discussion or it should be just one person.
Well, it can be, yeah, if you wanna just start with the chair, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
me personally, you guys, pipe in as you want, but I feel Sherry, did a good job. She's been the longest and, she does a good job as it is. So I think that makes sense.
Okay, could I get a second to nominate Sherry Boye as chair? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Can I get a motion to nominate a vice chair?
I'll make a motion.
Who are you making a motion?
Nate Manette.
Okay. Can I get a second to
Second.
nominate? Okay. Scott Gordon, second. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay, can I get a motion to appoint a secretary?
I'll make a motion to appoint Nick Russell.
Seconded by Nate. All in favor?
Come to a meeting.
Any opposed? I would like to I'd ask for a motion to appoint a treasurer.
I'll make a motion to appoint Nate Manette as treasurer.
Second.
Any discussion? You're giving him a chance to
I know.
run for the hills.
That's all right.
He didn't run for the hills. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion for an assistant treasurer.
I'll make a motion for Nick Russell.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'll make a motion or I'll ask for nomination for assistant secretary.
I'll make a motion for Melissa Mills to be the assistant secretary.
Second,
I'll second.
Nate seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a new slate of officers for the IDA. Thank you to all of you for being here and for being able to fill in for our officers. I will now turn the meeting over to our new chair, Sherry.
You want to
Steve.
bring your appointment committee?
She can do that.
Oh, okay. So next on the agenda is appointment of committees. So we have a governance anti-harassment committee. Am I doing a motion? Just telling them who's on.
We can do a motion, but you can,
Right now, we have Scott Gordon as the chair. This is the governance. Clyde Rapidu and Nick Russell on that committee. We good with that?
This is your chance to, you told me we could talk about it.
Yeah, we
So
can
we
after, but I'm good.
Okay,
I still want to talk to you.
okay, fair enough.
So make a motion on that one, or do them all?
We could do them all.
Audit and finance. I have Nate Manette Chair, Melissa Mills and Scott Gordon. On that one, everybody good with that? Okay, loan committee, Melissa Mills Chair. And Clyde Rep.
I wouldn't mind, man, no home committee.
Yep. Have that in.
I mean, I did read through a lot of the stuff, a lot of information we had taken before the first meeting, but.
And,
It's pretty straightforward. I give you pretty much everything.
Okay.
and point of clarification, we have a lot of overlap between the three agencies, so. For the IDA, we are only talking about governance and audit finance,
Okay.
so just. That's what we want to just, if everyone's in favor, do a motion just for those two for IDA.
For IDA or,
Just IDA for governance and.
Oh, okay.
finance. Yeah,
so I need a motion for the slate of committees as discussed. Clyde,
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Okay.
perfect.
And a
Okay,
vote.
Jeremy, do we have to wait till the next meeting for you to get the slate? Cause what I'd like to do is nominate the same slate for the,
we need to wait to the next.
okay, all right.
Yep, but yes, so that's the normal practice. Yep.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so moving along, thank you, everyone. I need a motion to accept the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We have to do it. All in favor?
Okay.
No discussion? Okay. Public comment?
We do have a member of the public
There we go.
who wants to talk to the board. So
Okay.
go for it.
Absolutely, thank you. Hey, everyone, my name is Maitland Robinson. I work for AES. We are the renewable energy company that owns and operates the Chateauguay Wind Park in Franklin County. It's one of the 4 wind parks in the North Country that we operate. For those of you who may know, we are currently in development of a repower project, which consists of decommissioning the 71 turbines across the park and replacing them with up to 27 turbines. We, at this point, have worked through the majority of our permitting under the state siting board. And we're anticipating receiving a draft permit from the state as early as January of this year, so by the end of this month. And as far as when we're looking to start construction, we're anticipating the earliest would be September 1st of 2026. That's an aggressive date, but we're pretty close on kind of tying up our turbine supplier as well as who our large scale contractor is going to be for the project. With that being said, we submitted a pilot application. I believe it was in May of this year, and we're eager and I think ready to start moving forward with the pilot application. And would also be interested in seeing a copy of the draft UTEP. That would be a possibility. And yeah, simultaneously, we've been in early discussion with the towns about hoping to start HCA negotiations with the town of Chateauguay for the project there. But obviously kind of waiting to see how we can move forward with the pilot. Happy to answer any questions. That's the majority of my comment.
When does your current pilot expire?
Great question. I believe it's,
I think it expired 3
Expired?
years ago. Yeah,
Oh, it's-
yeah.
What have you been paying for the last 3 years?
I think we've been paying, if it did expire, we've been paying the standard tax rate.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What's your assessed value? Millions and millions, right?
yeah. Hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions of dollars you've been paying at full value,
They pulled the assessed value. Yeah.
assessed value.
It's, yeah. I
How
would
much is
use,
that?
it's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head.
It's a lot
Not
of
his
dough.
department, but that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of dough.
Yeah.
Would, so after 3 years, public entities seem to get accustomed to that cash flow.
Right,
It's just a natural human thing.
right.
So I'm curious as to the response from the taxable entities that have been enjoying your full assessed value payments. What, and how would it affect their current money? That'd be integral to our discussion. What do you think, Madam Chairman?
I would agree.
Right, and the benefit of the repower is extending those benefits
I-
to the
I-
towns and.
Yeah, I get that, but 3 years is a gap.
Yeah.
Big gap.
Either 2 or 3, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll add in.
No, it
that,
makes a lot of sense.
We,
Sure.
we've been, so they've got their application in, we've been going back and forth on getting additional data, which they did before the end of the year. So now it's, back in my court to give them a final, any last things that are still owed to us for being able to present it back to the board for the initial application resolution.
What is the if you've been paying the full assessed value over 3 years and you're already got $100 million, hundreds of millions of dollars in the queue ready to reinvest?
Mhm.
Why do you need a pilot? I mean, doesn't your cash flow or projected profit cover that?
No, the biggest thing is it gives us project certainty in knowing what our assessed value is for the life of the repower. So we need to know, the pilot gives us that certainty and there's a fixed amount of, I appreciate.
Can you send us your pro forma statement for your investment? Pro forma statement means your projected revenues and expenses over the course of the pilot life.
Yeah, I imagine we.
I mean, you'd have to do that anyway,
Yeah.
because we don't just. I mean, maybe we do just deal them out, but there has to be a justification for that, like. We can't do this project unless we get this pilot, otherwise all the jobs are gone.
Mhm.
Something really emphatic like that. It's something I normally expect, but. If you've been paying it for 3 years, it seems like maybe you can pay it for 30 more.
Okay, and when you say pro forma statement, you're asking for,
It's your projected.
It would be all part of the application you'd be submitting to Jeremy.
okay,
Yeah, but we do, that's something that we usually get labeled as
We
confidential.
get it.
yeah.
Well,
So,
we just. Should we
because
throw it
there's
out?
a number of
Just
things
because.
that can be labeled confidential,
I'm sure gonna-
and then.
No, I
we
like all this. I think
publish,
this should be an executive
um,
session discussion. I think this is
is-
good though.
We publish
I
what's
think we should
public
be
and then we keep
public.
confidential.
Yep.
So that would be jobs. So when you send it to me, just label it as such.
Okay, yeah, understood.
We can follow
How
around.
long?
We can
Yeah,
follow
oh,
around.
that's what I'm following.
A Lot of variables.
Cause I presume your pro forma already builds in what you hope or project to be a pilot. Whether or
Yeah,
not
we-
this board agrees to it, and same with a host community agreement,
Mhm.
whatever you guys have built something into that. Now you have to work with the town and with us. to
Right.
See if we agree that that's reasonable and it works for you. So,
Correct.
right?
What's job creation on this like?
For construction, it's between 200 and 300 jobs.
Okay, for how long?
For, likely 2 years.
Okay.
We anticipate a 2-year construction period, and then we employ full-time technicians. I believe there's between 15 and 20 technicians, at the facility now, and those jobs would be extended for the life of the project.
What's the average salary for those technicians?
It's a great question that I don't know off the top of my head, but I can get that to you.
Are they members of the IBEW?
I also do not know if those are good jobs.
And when you say you employ those technicians, that, let's just remember that AES has 4 projects in the 2 counties, Clinton and Franklin, that are either in operation or going to be repowered or under construction.
Right, so those
So it's-
15 to 20 jobs are divided. among
Covers all of them. Is it, yeah, is it Churubusco, you got your office?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
4 counties, you say?
No, two counties,
Two counties.
three or four
Four,
towers. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, most of the towers between all your projects are in Clinton.
Correct,
Right.
yeah, it's like
Mm.
2/3 of the.
And they're full-time in Churubusco.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
Yeah,
200
yeah.
200 jobs that will produce during the construction, I mean, are these people locals or are these people will be brought in for the construction? I mean, I don't know what the
Yeah,
populated area is with the construction.
there's a requirement both for local and union jobs in our contract, so I don't know what the.
So I mean, I guess the question I'm getting at is, are these 200 people coming in temporary and they're gone when the project's complete? Or will they stay on and live and contribute to the tax
Franklin
base
County.
of the?
Yeah.
I would wanna know that too.
Yeah,
Man, I'm not sure the geographics of that area, if they have the people locally that they would hire. And I mean, I'm assuming if they're bringing in that quantity of people, they're just here to build a new. That would be the.
yeah, we
that would
don't,
be-
we don't
Sounds like there's a
have,
mix, right?
it's a mix, we don't have 200 to 300
No.
No,
contractors
no,
sitting around,
no.
yeah.
I'm just curious
Right.
on that.
Cause there's some level of specialty
Yes.
to this work, obviously.
Yeah.
It's one thing to pour concrete, it's another one to be actually installing a rotor on a.
Right, is there any kind of materials package in there for local contributors, local organizations, you know, for concrete and rock and
I love that.
Some of
Yeah.
that's in the siting permit, right?
yeah, that would be covered under our energy contracts with NYSERDA. There should be a portion is required
to be local.
to be local, kind of, yeah.
Let me look at where I'll send a link to everybody, try to point in the right direction. The Office of Renewable Energy Siting from the state that oversees the permitting for all these large scale projects. The one thing they do very well is every last piece of information about the project that comes in, whether it's an engineering plan from the company or a public comment from a person or whatever, they put onto a website for each project. So I'll send you the link to that one. Some of that stuff we take from some of what we require for our application, we take from that. What they submit, but there's way more that that you wouldn't otherwise see. So I'll send you the link and try to see if I can get some feedback to you on some of the questions you're asking that are probably addressed by the state in their permit.
I have one last question.
Mhm.
And I'm intrigued by this
Mhm.
in a lot of different ways. What has been the return on investment for this project heretofore? And what's your projected return on investment for this for the reinvestment?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Okay, so it's kind of really important for me to make a decision myself. I don't know, anybody else.
So typically how it works is the return on the investment for large scale wind projects like this, you don't see until later in the years of operation. So between like 10 and 20 years of operation, you start to make your money back from the debt that you
Okay, but over the course, how long was your pilot last time? 20, 30,
20,
20?
yeah.
I'm really interested on the return on investment for that 20-year span.
Yeah, it's typically
It's a percent.
typically between 7 and 10%. Our company shoots for 10%. These projects are less profitable for a number of reasons, so they probably fall around 5 to 7%.
Okay,
Yeah, and that changes with
What's the lifespan on this, once it's
um,
complete?
up to 30 years. We model everything for 20 years because we have a contract to sell the energy for 20 years.
So you're talking 7% over the lifespan, not 7% per year.
7% over the contract life, so
No, I-
20-year contract life.
would that have to be annual? That'd have to be the annual. You can't make 7% after 20 years, it's not worth getting.
Yeah, annually. Correct, yeah, annually.
It's like,
So I think
why are you doing that?
Because at the beginning, there's some negatives.
What's that?
Right, those beginning years, it's a negative.
Right.
Right, so it's an.
That's why it would have to be the 7% per year over the last 10 years
Or something
to
like
be able to
that.
recover the investment.
But I will,
This is
I'll
good.
I'll give them a little bit of a pass because AES,
Hmm?
this project was originally developed and operated by the company.
Right. Yeah.
And then AES purchased it about 3 or 4 years ago. So
So with these new units you're putting up, is there gonna be a higher efficiency and more ability to get your payback essentially?
Yeah, it's a mix of new turbine technology that's more efficient, as well as the contract price you sell it to state. Is where you make the money. Yeah.
Where's the energy going?
It goes into the Ryan Road substation mesh. NIPA is upgrading that transmission line and basically goes out to Plattsburgh. And then from there, it depends on, I guess, the Champlain Valley Hudson Express. Project, yeah.
What makes the turbines now? Are they made, US or foreign?
It depends on what portions of the turbines, but nacelles are typically now made in the US. So for the 2 turbine companies we're looking at, one of them has a manufacturing plant in Iowa, the other one has a manufacturing plant in Colorado. A lot of, I believe like the blades are international, kind of depends on what part of the turbine. But the 2 companies we're looking at, one is headquartered in Germany, that's Nordex, and then the other one is Vestas, which is Denmark, I believe.
What's the length of a blade?
The length of a blade is between 200 and 250 feet.
And they're getting bigger,
That's
right?
big.
The ones you're replacing.
Yeah, they've gotten a lot larger.
What's the elevation of, maybe I'm just boring everybody, it's really curious, like,
No.
what's the elevation of the turbine itself?
So the nacelle or the hub of the turbine is around 400 feet off the ground from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're having, from what I remember, it's fewer turbines than the current footprint. But as to your point, Scott, the turbine size no higher. Which is gonna result in the same power output. Right, more or less.
Or
Yeah, exactly.
hopefully more power output with fewer units.
So same overall for the whole project, so it's 120 megawatts or something.
Yeah, so this is a reduction in the total number of turbines from 71 to up to 27. But we can only keep the same max output of energy, which is 116.5 kilowatts. And that's because of our contract with the Interconnection Agency.
Any other questions? You sure?
I think we should have visitors more often.
That was
To
good.
learn about something.
No.
Yeah.
At the football field, wasting a blade,
It's crazy.
think about it, football
Thank
field.
you, baby.
Of course.
And the town of Chattagat has a special use permit for wind. It had one in place for a long time. Several years ago, they updated that special use permit that as far as requirements in their town code that does permit these higher towers.
Not to be a Columbo, but one more question. Some of you will remember Columbo. Others of you won't.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
So, so the decommissioned plants or towers, what are you gonna do with the remnants, the ones that aren't gonna be replaced, there's gonna be construction materials that essentially demolished materials, what are they gonna do, what are you gonna do with them?
Certainly, so the blades are recycled, those are recycled materials and they can be used and mixed into like concrete, for example. The rest of the towers, so the actual poles and the basically the motor, the nacelle are basically refuse. So
What
they're
about the concrete, because there was a lot of concrete down lots of feet.
Yeah, so we are actually negotiating with landowners to keep the concrete pads in place for a payment because it saves time and energy on construction. So for the most part, we're hoping to keep the pads in place. Those landowners can use them for a camping pad or kind of anything they want on their property, or we just fill it over with soil.
But the agricultural aspect around those is gone now, if those cement pads are left.
Correct, yeah, we're talking about like a 25-foot wide radius.
But how
typically they
many?
farm all the way up
25
to, all the way up to the concrete. Yeah, and depending, like a lot of farmers want them removed, so we just remove, for the town's requirement. Chip out the concrete with an excavator attachment and fill it over, and the landowners can reuse that land.
Well, thank you very much.
You don't have to stay. You're
Oh, yeah.
welcome.
I will take that off.
You remember
Take off.
Columbia?
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. Remind me your name?
Clyde.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. guys.
Did you say?
Yes.
Lots of good information.
Yeah. Have to
Yeah.
know they're. Put my name up.
Okay, so I need,
You'll hear that.
everyone's had a chance to look at the previous meeting
You might do my
minutes.
last name.
I need a motion approval of them, please.
Thank you, Matt.
The meeting or what? I need a gavel.
We're just letting this go.
Okay.
What?
Looking for a motion on
Madam
meeting
Chairman.
minutes.
Yes.
Sure.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Being respectful,
Thank you.
chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
That's where I was going.
Committee reports, governance committee. Do we have the previous chair or the new chair?
Not the new chair, he doesn't.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Nothing to report.
Yep.
Audit and finance? Nothing to report. All right, no, treasurer's report.
So although you have the December financials, they're obviously unaudited. We're gonna be having the auditor come in the first week in February to do, their review, and usually there's some journal entries. Right now, I'm in the process of doing year-end journal entries. There's a number of different things that we have to adjust at the end of the year. Some reconciliations that take place in regards to loan accounts to make sure that the loan statements that we have balance out with what's in QuickBooks and different things like that, so. Rachel and I are, getting together all the documents for the audit, and the plan, if people recall from last year, is instead of taking the board's time with having the auditors come in, the plan is to have the auditors present to the finance committee and more detail and get a comfort level, and then that way the board will only have to approve or accept the auditors report.
Great idea. Who came up
Yes.
with that?
We'll
Who
save
came
it.
up with
That
that?
was my idea.
Didn't know if they,
Great.
I shouldn't say, but paint drying comes to mind.
Worse than that.
I know it is, but
And they can tell, they know,
every detail is like.
but we know they have to. We all know.
We need our
Finance
auditors.
committee is-
Yep.
Thank
I have a
you.
love-hate relationship with auditors.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Is that all?
That's it.
Anybody have any questions on any of the statements Paul provided?
I will say that, we did have. Part of the Brookside project. Recognized as revenue. I think it was called the agent agreement, where we got 25% of the pilot fee, which was approximately $660,000. So that put us solidly in the black. For 2026, we're going to be getting the balance of that payment, which will probably take place sometime between March and April. And that's going to be a sizable amount as well, close to 2 million. Which obviously will make 2026 a banner year as well.
I do have one question.
Sure.
Why do we have so much in checking?
So there was a couple of treasury bills that came due, and then we got, that's the IDA.
Mhm.
The pilot payment, the Asian agreement that came in. And it usually takes, 2 or 3 days, sometimes 5 because of the holidays. There's a timing sequence when the treasury does their auctions, and so the money is out the door already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We've already
I think we're
invested it.
down to about 125.
Oh, I-
Feel
I-
better? It's making
I know you do
money.
a great job with them. Have you, how are the CDs and T-bills? How are those looking?
Well, T-bills traditionally will always be better than CDs.
Yeah.
We're doing a couple CDs with Community Bank, and probably will do it again.
Did we already make a decision on the second installment, the 2+ million? How that's gonna be handled as far as investment?
So your question basically is interrelated with general municipal law governing investments for municipalities. Because
Remember we had a discussion.
What's that?
Didn't we have a discussion on that?
We did. We have tried to find a couple of different investment advisors that we could have a conversation with. The one that Nick was familiar with is no longer, he's retired. Jeremy has reached out to other IDAs that do have sizable amounts as well. But they are complying with general municipal law, which extremely limits our ability to make investments in something other than government
Very
secure
safe.
things.
Yeah.
Now,
Only Bitcoin, we can do that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Real safe.
Mm.
having said that, and this would be entirely up to the board, and they'd have to be, it would be on them, but there are some municipalities which, disregard general municipal law, and they go ahead and they find good, sound financial advisors, and they invest in a diversified portfolio that's professionally managed, but it is in conflict with general municipal law. But if we're written up on it, we'll get probably challenged by ABO and different things like that, but they can't make us do it. There's no fine, there's no penalty, there's nothing like that, but you do get written up, and
Brady
you
goes down.
you get audit findings get published across the state off the state controller's website. So it's not.
That's why we're trying to figure out what some of our colleagues do around the North Country, just to make sure we are covering all our bases and not missing an opportunity that's well
Like that.
within our purview.
And I see the rate environment being kind of volatile.
Right.
I know there's a tendency at the federal level to lower rates, but there's other forces at play that could actually increase rates, bond rates, which would be favorable to us. Right now, we're looking at about 3.6, 3.65 high end. A
And
year
what's that
ago-
compared to what year ago? Probably a point
a year
lower.
ago was about over 5%.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
And that's a T-bills.
And treasury
What is CDs?
probably around 3.1, 3.15.
Orland.
Less amount of time though, right? CDs?
No,
What do you,
mean,
because
the-
you do shorter terms.
right, I staggered it, like, you can do, T-bills and CDs for any length of time. Sure. T-bills traditionally will do 4, 6, 8, 13, 17, 26, and 52 weeks.
Gotcha.
So there's a wide variety, and you pretty much can do the same thing with CDs.
Do we have the current checking, is that any kind of interest bearing?
That's why I asked them.
Why
why
wouldn't we? Why
It's already
wouldn't we? 'Cause I know the reason I'm asking
Pay it.
that.
They
Well,
Nobody pays it.
I agree, disagree with that, because we're going through that right now with the village and the town.
They can do money
community-
market.
and Community bank, yes.
Yep, we can
And
do
they
money
use
market.
Community
but-
bank, and they leverage community bank at over 3%.
Mhm.
On a.
On a money market?
On a money market checking account, which the money is available, it's not tied up.
There's a lot of money in checking.
It's gone, he's already
It's
invested.
already,
there.
it's already.
That's the end of the year.
Oh,
That was
It's
on
already
December
invested.
31st.
Right.
That's
I
why
mean,
I
I
brought
just
it up.
think it's something, I think it's something we should look into. I mean, where's all the main checking done in community or? I mean, even to reach out to other financial institutions and get their rate and say, you know, this is our average balance, this is blah, blah. And go back
No,
to
not
community,
likely.
go back to
It
community.
might be a little
That's-
hard.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, our
Here's the good
balance,
I don't think so.
because of all the efforts Paul has made over the last few years, our balance always is low.
Okay,
Because we put it all into those T-bills, so we can't leverage a lot out of them. Because we're not keeping much there. He has as much as possible elsewhere to maximize the interest rate, because T-bills will always, I mean, maybe someday it switches, but T-bills
Right.
will always be more than a bank account.
We were higher because the New York class of schools do that a lot. So we were being very aggressive with our municipal
Mhm.
department. I work for community. So he's looking at me like, how does she know? And so
That's
we
fine. I mean, I
were
just
going
was
out
out
there
there.
and being very aggressive with towns, schools, villages, all of the municipalities. And we beat out a lot to get them to stay with us, but you know, at the end of the day, if they want to move to NY
Okay.
class, then
Yeah,
we're giving them these deals.
Yep.
We're losing money because we're also not charging municipalities for a lot of fees. So there's a balance. So you know, you're right. You keep the minimum in the bank. You know, we're going to still take care of you, but we're not gonna give you high rates because you're
Right.
getting it elsewhere anyway. If you brought the money back, we might be able to make deals. Kind of that relationship.
I guess that's the point I'm getting at. Again, I'm brand new here. I don't really know how everything works.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the money is tied up in a CD, I mean, how
Mm.
accessible do we need money at times? These are
Yeah.
questions I don't know.
Right.
well, so I think, one of the things we should certainly do, Eric. Is you, me and Paul should, meet sometime and talk through that. You guys do all have the investment report. You probably haven't seen it all, because there's a lot of reports we give you, but Paul does the investment report for all three agencies, that kind of, you can see the stagger of when the T-bills are coming and going,
Yeah.
and just kind of go through that sometime, and just so you can see the cadence that he's been trying to
No,
follow.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you're doing. And
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my point was if instead of a lot of money in CDs, if it's a point or two difference in
Yeah.
the money can sit in the money market,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's worth looking at. That's all.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. This Jeremy, CEO report.
CEO report. Really just housekeeping, we'll go more of the same EDC. Make sure you're doing the paperwork that, we've been handing out. These are things that do get, some of it gets checked via the auditor, some of it we have to submit with our annual report. Some of it, if ABO wanted to come ask us for it, we're required to have it. So please make sure you get it to us, preferably today, so that we don't have to come back bothering you for it. And then Paul already talked about the audits, which takes a lot of effort over the next couple of months, and appreciate progress made in that over the last couple of years. And that's it for IDA.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Any old business? Thank you. New business, we have two resolutions. Resolution 2026-01. Adopted required policies, mission statement, disposition of property policy, procurement policy. I need a motion. Going to the table.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Just real quick, and we will have to do this in the EDC and CDC, but our rules of ABO rules require that each of these policies be annually adopted. There are no changes. So you're just re-adopting what's already been our policy for these three.
It's the same as it's been. There's been
Yep.
no changes in it.
Correct. No changes.
And the mission statement is the same.
Yep.
Okay. We do roll call on this? Roll call? Any discussion or anything, or? Roll call? Did you say no roll call or just all in favor?
I don't think it could be
Oh,
all in
right.
favor, yeah.
Yes,
I,
yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Resolution 2026-02. Adopt updated uniform tax exempt policy. This is what you were working on, correct? So I need a motion to bring that to the floor
I'll make the motion.
or table.
second,
Okay, any discussion? Jeremy, did you need to go over anything with
I
us?
would like Jeremy to explain, give an overview in 5 sentences of the changes that have occurred, because I read through it and there's a lot there. There's a lot of, I mean, it's,
I'd
so
be,
just
I'd be happy to. and-
summarize.
And then we also have a couple, we did, so. Yes, thank you. So first of all, as you know, and Eric, for your benefit, the uniform tax exemption policy is a policy that the IDA is required to have that sets forth how we are going to look at doing tax incentive projects. And we're required to have it. We can, there's certain elements that it has to have, and then there's other things that we're allowed to change and do based on our own situation. So it needs to be amended from time to time. Make sure he's trying to get the Wi-Fi on his phone. So with that, it was adopted a long time ago, before my time. And then in 2019, we did an amendment to it. And then, as we've talked about over the last year, there's a number of things that we wanted to be able to do and do better with our policy. I'll get to those for a second. I just want to, because it's in it's in the packet, but what I want to do is just tell you what we've done over the last 3 weeks. And that is that and I think I sent this to everybody by email. We sent out this note, which kind of describes the changes, the proposed changes between the two, along with the current policy and the draft policy. And we sent it to every school board president or secretary of the school boards for the 7 school boards in Franklin County, superintendents, and then chief elected officers for the towns and villages in the county, and clerks. In regular mail form and by email. And we sent that out, I think, at the beginning of last week. And
Goes into each other.
since then, with an invitation to provide comment. Ask questions.
Which you have in here. Did you get any
Correct.
emails yet?
Yeah, that's what you have in the packet is exactly what was sent out. So, and I'll get to that for a second, because we did receive 2 comments in the last couple of days from 2 school superintendents. And I think Rachel passed those out. I don't have them in front of me, but
Oh, yeah.
Rachel passed those out. So let me go over a couple of the major changes. And then I want to review these comments. So first of all, I guess I'd like to just focus on the 2 biggest changes. Because there's a summary here, but the 2 biggest is, number 1, our current policy, the one we've used for the last 9 years, or not 9 years, 6 years, doesn't set forth clear, definitive schedules for different types of pilots. There's no requirement to do that, but it's actually a best practice to set forth those schedules, where you say, what we're going to do for an industrial project is this. We are going to do a 10-year schedule, and here's how you're going to have a step down in the benefit over time. That's a very common practice. We did not have that. We did that for Bionique, for example, where I think it's a 10-year pilot, and it steps down over time. So by the end of it, they're paying full taxes. We just had it that we would determine that, and then we negotiate it. But for many different reasons, for clarity for the public, for clarity for applicants, it's a good practice to have a schedule. So they can go in and see what we will normally do.
And there's no negotiating.
Right, there still can be,
But there isn't.
because if there were, extenuating circumstances that the developer wanted to pitch to us. We can negotiate, but at least they're seeing what our normal baseline is, and everybody can see it, with no surprises.
Right.
So that's one, what I think is a really important change or improvement. The other thing related to that is that we now, with the proposed draft, break out schedules for different types of projects. So we had, before, we only referenced just general projects and then renewable energy. With this one, we actually break out how we deal with housing, workforce, between workforce, affordable market rates, adaptive reuse, which is if you, let's say you had a downtown building and we're gonna do or some other building and do a really big renovation, we treat that differently. And then we also have a standard schedule for a project like Bionique. And then finally, we did more with our renewable energy schedule. So before we were very simple, now we have standards for each type of proposed development that we might see. That's the one big positive change, and it brings us more in line with best practice around the state. The other is related to how we can approve projects. So as you know, with our current policy, there's a number of different projects. If it's not a deviation from our policy, this board can hold a public hearing, take comment, but then decide to approve or not. If the project had some of these extenuating circumstances or was a large renewable energy project, our policy required us to notify and get consent from each affected taxing jurisdiction. This draft policy, again, bringing it into alignment that's more typical across the state, still requires us to hold public hearings, notify affected taxing jurisdictions, and seek their input. However, with this new policy, it's ultimately for this board's discretion whether to approve or not approve. So Scott, does that help
Yep.
boil it down to basically the two most important changes?
Yep.
Okay. So I'd like now, just because they just came in the last
This
couple of
is,
days.
it's good. So essentially, my analogy is it's gone from here's some wine, drink it, to this is a Chardonnay. This is a Pinot. This is
Yes.
we have specific types of,
Like swine, apparently.
So I would use the Hershey bars versus Reese's peanut butter cups, but whoever, everybody's got.
I was
their
gonna
own.
go down the road of beers, but
And if you look at the last page of the draft that you have in front of you in the packet, these are the schedules I'm talking about, right? These never
Oh, yeah.
existed before.
And I mean, I think
Lucky
this came
people.
about because we're doing so much
We're
more.
doing more,
Mhm.
yeah, and we want
We really didn't
to,
before, so.
we want to find projects and help that, like.
it's very defined.
If you
Everything.
are somebody, I can just point you and say, this is the policy of the board.
So had we had this in place, how would the previous fiasco been as a
Well,
program?
Well, most things
would have
wouldn't
been more simple, a lot more simple.
Well, a lot of things wouldn't change. I think the timing would be we would have gotten it done a lot faster. To answer your question.
Yeah,
However, going forward, a lot of the other things aren't going to change. I am still going to do a lot of reach out and collaboration with the taxing jurisdictions so that everybody knows exactly what is being proposed and has the same information. That's not going to change. Because that is our job as an organization. That's my job, is to make sure they are all informed. But then when we get to the right place as a board, we just make the decision.
I like it. I think
And
it's very
I will
clear.
say that the renewable energy section of this, that is a lot more expanded, and some of these other ones are really, I've taken them from other places, in particular Clinton County. So a lot of the additional policy language in here about renewable energy mirrors Clinton County, which I think is really important because over the next couple of years, we're going to have projects that are on both sides of the county line. And it makes it easier for us, for Clinton County, for all the jurisdictions and for the companies to be playing from the same sheet of music, as they say. All right. So back to the two letters. I'd like to just read them because we just received them and it's good for the record. So the first that I received was from J.C. Welch, who is the superintendent for the Pepper Lake Central School District. And she said, "Good morning. We received the proposed tax exemption policy from the County of Franklin Industrial Development Agency. We're respectfully asking Franklin County to consider a host community agreement in lieu of pilots, as well as an education benefit agreement for solar. An example of a host community agreement is attached. I welcome the opportunity to discuss, but I am unable to attend the public meeting or the public hearing." So I thought this was a great question and great request. And the answer that I will be, when I respond to her, is that is exactly what is happening with the Brookside Solar Project. And this draft will not change that dynamic at all. In fact, it actually improves it because one of the things that if the new policy is adopted, one of the things that we take into account on whether or not to approve a pilot or what the benefits should be is, has the company worked to negotiate a host community agreement with the taxing jurisdictions? And so the answer is, we can accommodate this. The new policy can accommodate this.
Is he or she asking this because in lieu of pilots, they will have more money in their pocket if they do it this way?
No, it's not necessarily more money, but what the school districts really worry about is how pilot agreements affect their tax cap. The calculation that the state gives you messes with school district budgets in a way that's less advantageous than it is for towns and villages. And so they've been really concerned about how pilots, especially at the end of a pilot agreement, they have it changes how the revenue shows up in the tax cap calculation, and it just causes a lot of concern. So they, in many ways, would prefer to have a host community agreement and less of a pilot. It helps them better. So in this case, in Brookside, if you recall, we negotiated how much money was going to go in or back to the communities. And we calculated what a pilot would be for the school district and for Franklin County. But then we turned some of it in to a host community agreement and an educational benefit.
I remember that.
So that wouldn't change. We could still work with the school district to do that in a way that they felt comfortable.
And that's not in here, so I think that's why JC.
Yeah, sure, yeah,
Right,
so I will be making sure to kind of, I'll respond to an email, but I plan to just go talk to her about it. Because, and then the second message is from Loretta Fowler. She is the resident school district expert in Franklin County when it comes to renewable energy projects and their impact on pilots. I appreciate immensely for all the listening that you have done throughout our pilot agreement process. This document is proof that you understand all the entities involved in the process. I love what you did with the pilot. This section is wonderful. Max 20-year pilot, $5,000 per megawatt base payment, which considers farmland and host community agreements and view shed. The question she has is, does the $5,000 take into account if the rates are larger? Would we be able to ask for a higher pilot? Am I reading it correctly that a $5,000 pilot is the minimum? And so the answer to that is yes. The new policy makes $5,000 per megawatt the minimum. And to Clyde's question to Maitland, if we find as we are working with a project that we feel there's more available than $5,000 per megawatt, we can ask for it and work with the communities to ask for it. And then our policy still allows us to figure out how to distribute it first between a pilot and a host community agreement.
Jeremy. On their project. They don't, they're not asking us for bond money, are they?
No,
They're not asking for any money.
nope.
So it's all in-house investment.
Well, they're good, yes, and tax credits. There's state and federal tax credits involved, but it's not, yeah, they're not asking us for any financing.
Okay.
Simply the tax abatement, yep. All right, so again, I will be reaching out to respond to both of those excellent comments and questions. But the basic answer is their comments or questions are perfectly accommodated with the draft policy.
Remind me
Doesn't even
again,
say
who did you
posted.
send this to? All the superintendents, county officials, village, and that's all you got?
Yes. I did,
What?
the county legislature has asked me to come to an economic development committee meeting. Either next week or the week after to explain it.
Hmm.
But
And I saw Ned was a copy on that. He never followed up or contacted
no,
you.
no, she
He
was, I'm
copied
sure
on-
she was, because he's a Tupperware
Right.
legislator. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, my invites for next week, I think, to go
Have you had
describe it in
any,
more detail.
have you had any water fountain conversations with any of the legislators to see what their
No,
temperature is?
When did you send this out to them, to like the school?
7th, I think, it
The
said, because yours was at the bottom. Amendments to January,
Right, so, okay,
a week ago.
yeah, what we're trying to do is send it after the holidays,
Mhm.
but with enough time to give comments. We figured if I send it before, everyone would forget about it.
Yep.
I would have.
Yep, that's what I agreed. Okay, so any further discussion on this resolution? All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Okay,
Does it need a roll call?
does this one need a roll?
I
Yeah,
would
sure.
say, I would
That's
do.
on the last.
Yeah.
All right, Rachel,
Sherry Bouye,
yes,
Scott Gordon,
Yes.
Nate Manette,
yes,
Clyde Rapidu,
Yes.
Eric Shaheen.
Yeah.
Melissa Mills and Nick Russell are absent.
Good
Thank
question,
you.
Scott.
all right, do we need an executive session?
No.
Any public comment? I need a motion.
Good
for
job,
adjournment.
Jeremy. I'll make that. as
Oh, there
a
you go.
comment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,